I live.
He lives. Ain't no way. Look at this guy.
They thought they could take me down.
It's foolish.
They thought I am literally the best repo player ever.
No, don't remind me of that. Don't remind me of my struggles, my past. Don't even fucking worry about it. I'm the fucking best, dude. I am the greatest repo player to ever launch this game. It destroyed the cart.
No, come on.
That's not good.
You're failed? You're
Yeah,
failure?
yeah, my
You don't want me
failure.
to be a constant reminder of every single thing you've ever done wrong?
I can't ask for something that's already happened.
What's with the new cut?
Wait, you like it? You like the new cut?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So you just think the whole world revolves around you, huh? Like my schedule, everything I do just revolves around you?
No.
You know, I
no.
could just stand here. Okay.
I just expect you to be punctual. You know, you were late today. You're on thin ice, buddy, and you have the audacity to
not
complain
my
to
fault.
me? You have the audacity to complain to me? Listen to this guy.
Do you want me to start crying? Because I can start doing that. I can just like fall to the floor and just go. I just can't fucking do this. It's
Just
just
say
these
it like it
conditions are
would
just
faze me,
they're
alright?
untenable.
This is
They're
business.
untenable.
There's no room for emotions. There's no room for being vulnerable, Pyrine. You gotta lock in, buddy. You gotta...
This is such good material for my next album. I'm gonna write all about this. My crazy coworker
Oh my god.
/ boss and how he ruined my. I'm gonna make like an 8-page long Reddit post and then post it to Twitter as well with like a Google Doc and say the real Bimler exposed.
Oh no, not the... No.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. You know, your dark side's coming out. It was only a matter of.
Maybe.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's alright. It's alright. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Music Box, the show where I, Bimler, enjoyer of music, show an album to my good friend Pyrine.
What? Oh, you want me to do a bit this time? Is that what you expect me? Like I'm a joker? Like I'm a but? Why do you get him to do a bit? All right, I do the jokes every single fucking time, and I carry this show. Why don't you do a bit this time for the introduction? It's not so easy. Guess who carries the show? Guess who's the one that's lifting it up like Atlas lifts the earth? Let's keep this in mind as we move forward.
And after a week of listening, we meet up and discuss. In this episode, this week, we're going over the long-anticipated new Seat Headrest album, The Scholars, released a few weeks ago now. A rock opera featuring several named characters through several different plot points, inspired by a poem his great-great-grandfather wrote or something like that. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. I got to listen to this record, or I listened to this record a little bit before I ended up showing it to Pyrine, so I've had a little bit of time to adjust to it. I've come to really enjoy it. I'm a big Seat Headrest fan. They're one of my favorite bands ever. And it places solidly at the number 3 spot in their discography, right behind Twin Fantasy and Teens of Denial for me, which is very high praise, because I love those albums to death. I love this album to death. But what about you, Shia?
Don't address me like a lord. You can't do this because you're just gonna start doing bits back, and we just don't progress the show. So why don't we just be serious and businesslike from now on, and just don't do anything funny?
That would be so boring. We have to have fun around here. What would be the point if we didn't?
Let me tell you something. Fun doesn't make money, Peter. Fun doesn't pay the bills.
I need pictures of Spider-Man, not fun.
Oh God, where do you even start with this one? I admit I have a lot of thoughts about this record because I feel like I've gone through kind of a like an odyssey on my thoughts on it. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say my thoughts when I first listened to it. I kind of thought it was like a bit of a mixed bag. I thought there were parts that were good, there were parts that didn't really do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's kind of like almost mutated since then, and I can't even really summarize my feelings on it.
Dang. Oh wow.
And like I think it's a bit complicated. The one thing I do want to say is that overall I think this album's pretty great. And I think it's very, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I honestly would agree with you with the placement of it in third place behind Twin and Teens. Teens and Now, because that's just straight up, it's always going to be my favorite car seat like album. I do not think anything will ever be able to beat that one. And Twin, just because I kind of like the composition that Twin does more. But
Yeah.
this album has a lot of very interesting things it does. In fact, I did something interesting. I decided to compare it to something. I compare it to a food. I
Ooh.
think this album, in the scheme of like, Car Seat Headrest, is comparable to trail mix.
Oh,
There are
yeah?
things in it. There's like a lot of things in it. You got things you like, things sometimes you're not really super crazy of. Overall, trail mix is good, and I love trail mix. I know you're allergic to peanuts, so you can't really eat it.
Yeah, no.
But every now and then, one thing I'm not a fan of is raisins. And there's a few raisins in here for me that can kind of keep me from fully engaging with it.
Oh, but I
I'll
love
kind of get more into
raisins.
that later. But overall, I think this album is nutritional. It's got a lot of substance in it, very
Oh, yeah.
clearly.
Mhm.
A lot going on. Just in terms of like, if I was gonna get a snack food, I'd probably just grab like a granola bar,
Yeah.
something more like upfront, more simple. Which is just my thoughts flat out. But I don't want to make it seem like I don't like this album. I have come around to a good bit of it. Some of my original opinions have changed, and I kind of want to just, if you don't mind, I would ask we kind of just go down the list of music in order to talk about it,
Ooh.
because I have something to say on, I think all of them to some degree.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe less for some of them.
Before we start that, I want to address what you already had just said, but like I think the metaphor of trail mix actually makes a lot of sense because this album just has a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, it's a rock opera. It's got named characters. It's got several different storylines and plot points, and it's got places and like it's long because it's car seat. But there's almost a 19-minute long song on this thing.
We'll get to that one.
There's a lot happening here. And honestly, that was something I was very afraid of when I first started listening to the record, especially with the knowledge that there were named characters and all that stuff. Because when I first listened to it and I first experienced it, I just listened to it. I didn't have Genius up. I didn't have the lyric sheets or anything. I was just listening to the music, and that was it. And I quite enjoyed it. But I was kind of afraid that, like, in getting lost in the minutia of it, I would lose some of the love for the record, and that didn't really happen for me. In some cases, I think it improved. But we can talk on that aspect more later. But let's start on the track list then.
No. I want to address what you just said, because for me, I feel like it is the polar opposite experience. I listened to this with Genius up, looking at the lyrics. I was
True.
looking at the composition. I was looking what they were doing. And I'm going to be real. I think that hurt my enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
I think that soured my opinion looking deeper at it, because I will say something. Like, in regards to the rock opera thing, in regards to the fact that it's basically a play, it's basically a poem.
Yeah.
I see and recognize, like, the kind of idea what they're doing. They got different characters, they got, like, different plot points and all that stuff. I recognize it. I appreciate it. It's not for me, and I don't really care for it. That is, in my opinion, it's just not something I really care for. So, in order for me to, like, actually actively engage with the album more, I kind of had to remake what the album was about in my brain.
No,
That's kind of why I want to talk about it in order, because I basically had to translate it into from car seat headrest speak into Pyrine speak to
No.
make it more personal to me.
That's
It was-
actually, yeah.
it's something.
That's real. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
I guess I was just a bit worried when saying that, because it's like, is it bad that I have to do that? Is it because they clearly have like a story going on? They have like plot points, but I just like,
yeah.
I would rather do my own thing to pull my own enjoyment out of it. Is that like a bad thing?
I don't think so, because like I said, that, or like you said, that kind of happened in reverse with me. Like I had formed my own meanings and opinions on the songs first, and then I like read into like the story beats and the characters and all that. So everything kind of has like almost two versions of the song in my brain: the song that I like and I listen to, and then the song that Car Seat Headrest wrote in their little contained universe. And I think that's pretty cool. And I will say, after we finished the first listen to the record, did my door just open? Anyway, my house is haunted. After the first listen to the record, I did regret showing you with Genius. I actually was like, I should have just let him read Spotify lyrics. I had that thought after we ended, because I remember, like you had said at the start of the video, your opinions on it were quite shaky when we finished it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I might have been information overload. I might not have let him like actually, form his own meanings with the songs like I did, and it's a different way of enjoying it. I should have just done it the same way I did. But yeah. One track that you did like though, and I would imagine you still do because it's just pretty undeniably great in my opinion. CCF. I'm gonna stay with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty hard not to like it, to be fair. It is a extraordinarily strong opener. I think my only real complaint about it is the fact that it just takes too long to start, in my opinion. It takes just a bit too long. It likes to... I get what they're doing. They like to do the build-up, but it's like there is a point where you do just have to start where the build doesn't really do anything. It's like exponential. You can only do so much. But that's not even like that big of an issue. To me, the opener is like perfect morning music. That
so
is
true.
like you are waking up. It's not even like just morning music. It is such a start of whatever journey you're going on. To me, this is like you're waking up for the first day of college kind of music.
Yeah.
Where you've just left the home, you've just moved out, and you are waking up to go to classes for the first time with that level of freedom that you've never been provided anymore in your life. There's a lot of chaos going on. There's a lot of like really crazy instrumental moments that's like kind of simulating like the entirely different environment that you're being placed in. But I still think it's like there's a level of optimism, there's a level of excitement going with that kind of gets you invested in the record. I thought it was a very, very solid opener for that reason, even if it is like 8 minutes long.
Oh yeah, no, it is one of my favorite Car Seat Headrest openers, just in terms of the openerness of it. It's funny that you mentioned how long it takes to start, because I just thought about it like just now. There are Car Seat Headrest songs that take longer to start. Not even that you've heard. Like, I'm wearing a shirt right now, based on the album, How to Leave Town. The opener for that album, it's almost 15 minutes long. But the thing is, the opening to that track is the instrumental is 5 minutes before it actually gets to the lyrics. So, to like compared, that song's amazing. I adore the ending of Jammerman for anybody who knows the album, and I'll probably show to you at some point. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just desensitized to it. I kind of like it, especially because of how big of an opening, like, or what it's opening for. There's so much happening. It kind of feels in place to be that long to me. I would probably prefer it if it wasn't, but it's not something that sticks out to me as a complaint, I guess.
No, I mostly agree. It's more just like an observation. I was listening to a lot of this music when I was doing work, like just generally doing things like yard work and mowing and other farm work, which is what I do. I work on a research farm. I honestly think that's one of the best ways to enjoy Car Seat Headrest is to kind of listen to it passively. And when you're doing it like that, you just don't really notice how long the opener takes.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't really that big of an issue for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think this is a solid Eminem. Going back to the Trail Mix thing, it's a solid Eminem of a track.
It is an Eminem of a track. And there's so many good parts of it, too. I love the bridge. The fucking, like, I'm on a train where it all catches up to me. Or sell my soul to feed my family. 12 years and all I learned to say was grace. Such a good line. Just, they made a rocket and they sent it into space. Mom and Dad said, Texas when you get there. It's so fun. The way the track just soars with that, it's so euphoric. It's one of the happiest sounding car seat songs, and it's pretty great. Track 2, because we're going in track order. I like that idea. We don't do that very often these days. Devereaux is quite a divisive one. I feel like you either love this one or you can't stand this one. What are your thoughts on it these days?
When I first listened to it, I was like, it's okay, but I've honestly come around to it. I think it's pretty solid. It's not my favorite track, but honestly, I've come to appreciate what it's done, like what it's doing. I honestly think it's a bit of a sleeper of a track, in my opinion. Like, compared to others, I think it does enough to be interesting. I think literally it's the fact that Lady Gay comes right after it, which has a similar energy, is probably its biggest downfall, because it's two low energy tracks stuffed between two of the highest energy tracks on the record, so they kind of mold together and people's opinions can kind of get muddled for that. But I still kind of like it. I I like how it kind of establishes a bit of the world it's kind of creating. Again, not going to the actual what they're actually doing, but to me, this is like you have that freedom that's being provided to you by school or like in college or whatever, employment, and you're starting to feel like, hey, I'm realizing stuff about myself that I never really felt before. I might be like, I don't know, it's Seat Headrest. You might be closeted. But hey, it could also be something like you're just weird, you have really weird niche interest, and that freedom that you're being provided is now kind of like settling in on you. It's like, hey, I'm actually like this. It's kind of crazy. Which is kind of carried on to the next track as well.
Yeah, no, I actually think those two tracks, and Devereaux in particular, well, I mean, Lady Gay kind of just expands on a lot of themes in Devereaux, in my opinion, but Devereaux establishes a lot of very important things that will return throughout other songs on the record. The themes of, like, if you want to go face value, homosexuality, and, like, being a freaky weirdo, and all that stuff, and, like, this struggle of communication and being accepted. And it also introduces some of the more, like, Christian-inspired religious aspects of the album in some ways, which is pretty cool, and I like that. For no reason in particular, definitely not because I've had my own arc involving religious and spiritual struggle, but
it's always like, I always love it when people just describe like, yeah, my personal growth, that was my arc.
I don't know.
That was the first phase. No, I'm not making fun of you. I love it when people say that.
No, I do too. That's why I do it. I think it's funny, but yeah, so that kind of helps me to connect with the record more, especially, like, Devereaux is a track I very much relate to. And kind of also Lady Gay in a way. Not because I'm gay, but because a lot of the struggle and tension in that song is something that I have felt in my actual life, because there's a lot of things I can't tell my parents about, and I don't want to tell my parents about. One of those very things could be my spiritual journey and my deconstruction, as they call it in the business. I can't talk to my parents about that. They're devout Christians. They'd kill me. They'd have my head on a stick. So,
guys, go watch the episode on the Ascension.
Yeah, you should do that. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, so the one of my favorite lines from Lady Gay is the ending line of the song. You're asking me, am I dead? No, you're my son, which I think is really cool, because I've heard very similar things in my time here on planet Earth, where it's like this weird middle ground of like, yeah, we're not going to adapt or accept your ideas, but we're also not going to hate you because, like, you're our son, and that'd be kind of fucked up. So it's like this weird limbo, and that's what I kind of think of when I hear that line. So it's like, okay, all's forgiven, kinda. Asterisk. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'd probably say, I'm going to come back to this point where I say that Lady Gay is probably, I think, my least favorite track on the record. That's not because it's bad. I just think it's, compared to like where it is, compared to the fact it literally comes right after Devereaux.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it does enough to justify it soaring up there. Doesn't mean it's bad. I enjoy it. All it really does for me is just expands upon the ideas of Devereaux.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of like the whole journey of that realization that about this facet of yourself, that there is a factor of you that was always kind of there that we mentioned.
Yeah.
In the end of that, just kind of coming to terms with that fact, which I think transitions really, really well into the Catastrophe, which is another Eminem on the record.
Oh, yeah.
See, those last two were peanuts, in my opinion, but this is another Eminem.
Yeah, no. The Catastrophe, I said it on record when we listened to it, and I will say it here. You can put it on my fucking gravestone. The Catastrophe is the single most fun song Seat Headrest have and possibly will ever write. It's so fun. It's just raw energy. It's like the best Stroke song that never existed, and it is crazy. I love so many of the lines in the song. Like, the lyrics are just gold on this for like what they are. I think it perfectly treads the line between like kind of just it works perfectly in universe, but you can also very easily connect it to Seat Headrest as an actual band. like keep an eye on the time zone changes 2 weeks to go and it feels like ages. It's all the stuff about being in a band and touring everywhere and going crazy is like, yeah, yeah, it's really good. Add that to the counter. I did the thing. Add it to the counter. It's really good.
We have like
it's
a
really
counter in the corner.
No, but to say more, I guess. But I want to let you talk on it a little bit, but I'll pick it back up because I feel like we have a lot to say about the catastrophe.
Well, I think Catastrophe, specifically as a transition from the previous two songs, is almost like that reckless indulgence of that facet. This is the drug, sex, rock and roll. This could be anything. It is that freedom unbound, where it's like, oh my god, I could do whatever the fuck I want, and that this whole song is just doing it.
You can do whatever the fuck you want when you want to.
Exactly.
You're only wearing my
as a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, again, it brings me back to the idea of like college stuff. Like you're now going to parties, you're like drinking with people, and like, oh my god, you're having like the best time of your life right now because it's just it's so exciting. You're doing everything, all those inhibitions, all those walls that kept you from doing this stuff in the past are completely gone, and you have basically no like restraint when it comes to it.
Yeah,
and it's just like everything everywhere, which I like for that reason. It kind of gives it a. Not like a sinister, but bit of like a good a thinking undertone, which I like for it. That's why I think it's a good. I like how it's not just like purely joy like La La. I'd argue the same with CCF a little bit, but here it's a bit more prominent, where it's like it's more just doing. You know, I'm struggling for words. I'll hold off on what I'm saying, but. You kind of get what I mean.
Yeah, a little bit. But no, I agree. It does. I think reckless is the perfect word you could use to describe this song. It's just wild. It's crazy. The bridge on it is iconic. It's got so many great one-liners. The two biggest highlights obviously being, does it put the ram in the Ramalama Ding Dong? Cinema. There's also a callback to an older Car Seat song, Afterglow. And he's like, am I still breathing? Can you hear me? I'm trying to think of the line. But the line is, can you tell me what time it is? Which is a callback to that song, which is really cool. And I along with other people that I know who've listened to a lot of Car Seat, geeked out when we heard that. And we were like, Afterglow? And then you would look it up. It's like, that's a thing. But I'm getting off track. Really cool. Just yeah, it is a fun fucking song. It fits really.
It's really good.
It's important in establishing this band, CCF, which the first song is the title of. The band's supposedly called CCF, I think. And you know the character of Artemis, the guy who's kind of running it. But even without that. You can vaguely pick up on the story of this. They're starting a band. They're going crazy, and I think it does that super duper well. And that ends up coming back in later songs as an important inflection point. So yeah, Cinema. It's a great song.
It's really good.
Shut up. Next track though, unless you had the thing you were gonna say, you want to circle back on that, or are we just gonna move on?
I'm gonna say that for the long songs.
Oh, okay. Next track is Equals, which is definitely like. Very much an overlooked song, and I can see why. I like Equals. I think it's good, but when you're in between The Catastrophe and the 3 10-plus minute songs on the record, you will be overlooked. You will be overshadowed, and you kind of deserve it, because there's not a terrible amount going on in Equals. I think it's fine.
It's another peanut of a song, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I enjoy it. I kind of like it's a bit more mellowed out.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's like you're sitting there with this new group of people that you find yourself with. It's called Equals. It's like, oh man, you guys really get me. No one else gets me, but you guys get me more than anyone else does. And it's like, oh my god, I finally feel like I can breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like it for that reason. I would say it is on par with my enjoyment with Devereaux. I appreciate it about as much.
Mm-hmm. You're basically the same.
It is going to be overlooked because of the two songs in between.
Yeah.
Through no fault of its own. I think it's in the right spot. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
I don't really think I have much more to say on it than that.
Yeah, no. It is a really, you don't hear a lot of good, I should say, yeah, you don't hear a lot of good songs about cancel culture, but I think Equals is definitely one of them. Most songs you hear about cancel culture usually feature Tom MacDonald, so, it's a refreshingly good, like, perspective on it, and it kind of feeds into the themes of Devereaux and Lady Gay in the communication aspect of them. Obviously with the way the track starts, I'm scrolling through my contacts, but there's no one left to text. I just needed to talk to someone who doesn't hate me yet, which is really cool and fits with the story going on, where somebody like steals a thing, and then the little doggy guy from CCF finds him and is like, "What the heck?" And then he's like, "You know what? My bad. I shouldn't have done that." Without a defense I stand, and all that. It's a good song. I think it does what it's supposed to do pretty well, even though I think its biggest fault is that it's contained and it's overshadowed by the songs that it's surrounded by. It doesn't do a whole lot connected with the rest of the record. If it was more integral, then it would probably be a stronger track, I think.
I think it's literally just one of those songs. It's more structural than integral. It needs to be there to keep the structure of the album in place, but it's like overall, it is what it is. It is what it needs to be.
Yeah, I'm absolutely glad it's here, because going from the Catastrophe into the Gethsemane would be fucking weird. Speaking of which, though, this is the one I've been most anticipating talking about, because there was a lot of impassioned disagreement when I first showed him Gethsemane. I loved it. I've always loved it since it first came out. It's easily like at least a top 10 Car Seat Headrest song for me. And my second favorite on the record. It's so epic and building and engaging. And so many good hooks land on this song too. There's the tabernacle, and there's obviously I can do whatever the fuck I want when I want to. You're only wearing my skin. That bit's hard. You can love again if you try again. This is probably the best hook on the whole record. So good it comes back in a later song. And my favorite part, which was a part we very heavily disagreed upon of the whole track, is when it does the biggest build, like bridge of the whole song. All the instrumentals drop off, and you get the "I can't run anymore." I die when that part of the song happens. So that's my gushing out of the way. I want to hear your thoughts on it, because I'm morbidly curious.
Oh God. Oh God. No. I'll be honest. This one I have a lot of notes on.
Boy.
Here's the thing. Gethsemane is a 10-minute and 51-second song.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every single time I've listened to it, my opinion on it has changed. So I don't even know what we're about to discuss on it is going to be what I feel in the future, because this okay, I say the entire album is Tremolix. This one is like the Bean Boozled song.
I don't think so. I think it's just Jelly Belly all the way. But
okay, I'll say opinion one. I think this song gets better as it goes on.
True.
I think
based.
Once you get towards the end, it's really good. I would argue it might arguably have some of the best moments of the entire album.
Absolutely.
Near the end.
Yep.
I'll say right now, my favorite part is 802. It's not the part you were talking about. It's it's the bridge. I don't remember the lyrics, but
now you have me as I was born.
Yep, that part right there.
That bit is like that bit too. That I can't run anymore is the best part of the song. I think, like including that bit. Just that whole section is gold.
I really love that part. This song kind of has like 3 parts to it. It's just the thing where it's like, if I'm gonna take the average of my opinions, I do not really care for the opening. Like I'm gonna say like the first 2 minutes, I think are weak. Like I think don't do enough to justify their existence outside of setting up what is going to happen at the later parts. But once it kind of gets past the 2-minute mark, it starts picking up. It literally goes from raisins to M&Ms for me. Because it gets the second part, then it's like, okay, this is pretty good. This is like, I like it. Then it gets to the third part, where it's like minute 5 onward. That's when basically, it starts to
after
actually
you can love again when you try again. Or you can love again.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's weird because a lot of the beginning has to be there in order to set up the later parts. I don't care for it. It's like it's too slow. It's too like it takes way too much time. It almost feels like a little bit preachy. But it's just like it's here to try and like bash it into your brain like this is what we're going to do at the later part, so you can be ready for this. We're going to do this later, so you need to be aware that this is what we're doing now. That's why they'd say tabernacle like 500 times. By the way, I do not like they said that. I think that word is stupid.
I love tabernacle. It's a fun word, and also it's important to the song, but it's a fun word.
I do not care for it. And that's another gripe of mine. I just stop saying if they do it with literally anything else, that's like you get like 5 points back. But it's like it takes me out of it. And I have to say it's just like really weird because I think the back half of the song is great. I think it's really good. My biggest issue with the back half is just I think there's some missed opportunities for doing cooler things. Your favorite part? I think the best thing they could have done there to help my enjoyment to put it up there, it would probably be my favorite too, if they had just a very slight like snare line behind that, or like a cymbal line to, something
just to
pushing
keep
the
it
tempo
going a little bit instead of absolute silence.
Yeah.
And like the little synth they have, because they do have that little synth in the back, but that's it.
I had an issue with that the first time I listened to, only because it was kind of frustrating that they didn't do anything. But I kind of around to like appreciate it for what it is. I just kind of wish they had something. That's kind of a general thing for the overall back half of the song. It's just putting it at like the first, not even the first half, the first 2 minutes, and then kind of getting through the next 3 minutes after that can be a bit like, okay, I'm here for the long run so I can get to the back half. Which I don't know how to feel about that. I don't really know how to rate that as a song.
No.
Like, kind of having a mid-opening, then a great ending, how that works for me. It's a bit hard for me to describe.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's fair. When the single first came out and I started listening to it, the first couple listens, I actually felt a very similar way. I wasn't super sold on the track. Because I'd gotten a DM from a friend who was like, oh my god, this single's like the best thing ever. You have to listen to it. It's so good. And I put it on, and I'm like, okay. All right. Okay. All right. But by the end of my first listen, I was like, wait, that was really good. And then I kind of kept returning to it, having it on in the background, just keep coming back to it. And every time I listened to it, it got better. Because I think I don't know. Car Seat just does that, I think. It's a very much of a, I think it is a grower of a song. A lot of Car Seat songs are like that, I think. But
familiarity breeds positive emotions in this case for a lot of music. When you just start seeing what it's doing, when you see like, again, it's another song that when I'm listening to it in the background, I have a lot less issue with. But when I'm more actively listening to it, I start to pick up on like the things I don't like. I start to notice the raisins in my trail mix.
yeah.
But overall, I'll say this song is pretty great. Especially when I'm just jamming out to it.
Yeah.
And in terms of like the actual themes that I was talking about before, to me this feels like the start of a setback, because this song feels like the more of the reckless, I can do fucking anything, but with the caveat like you're about to crash and find out that you are not invincible like many I'll just say it like children kind of feel like they are. Like, I can do anything, nothing bad will ever happen to me.
So true.
And it feels like a bit more, it's got a lot of confidence to it, I'd say.
Yeah.
That kind of helps elevate that. But you can tell, like, with the way they're changing the mood, they're changing the tone. You can tell they're going to go into something that's a bit more like, they're going to crash. Something bad is going to happen that's going to make them, relapse, realize what they're doing. There's going to be some pain, which kind of does a perfect transition to the next track, in my opinion, Reality, which is just the best song on the record. Might be one of the best songs Car Seat's ever made.
God, I love Reality. That song was the first and I think only song that wasn't a single that like actually knocked my fucking socks off on first listen. I was genuinely floored by Reality, especially when that first big instrumental point hit. Like when the guitars really start roaring and it just kind of starts flying. It's like, it's there's something very deeply Pink Floydian about it in my eyes. I can't quite put a finger on it. I think it's just the way it kind of makes me feel like I'm floating at times. But without getting on too much of a sonic tangent, the track hits like a freight train, especially after how much of a high energy ride Gethsemane was. Reality just drops you back in, well, reality. It feels slow, it feels patient, it feels empty for the start of the song, and I think it's incredibly intentional and just a fantastic artistic choice. And the way that it builds to its climax feels like the swelling up of emotions, of grief, of struggle, and when it finally all lets out, it's like, without saying a word, that part of the song inspires so much emotion within me. Just the way the instrumentals start blaring and the way that it picks up is just so heavy, like on my heart. It's so good. I put another fucking nickel in the jar. I don't care. It's very good. It's a really good song.
No, don't put it because you said it was so good. No, it's really good.
It's really good.
It's a difference.
It's really good.
It's really good.
And there's all the lines, all the little lyrics in the song perfectly paint the images too. The fucking, you did what you saw in the movies. Someone put you under a spell. Some world is always happening. The next morning, everything went to hell, which puts you in the setting like, oh, something has gone really wrong. Who could have seen that coming? Definitely not the catastrophe. And the way that the song is framed in the story universe, which isn't, I don't think, is probably the most connectable point on the whole record, because it's just a song about grief. In universe, they feel like they've lost one of their bandmates, either to madness or death, and they're grieving the loss of them. It's a pretty simple concept, and it's executed very strikingly, to the point where you don't really need to connect it to the story to enjoy it at all. I don't most times. I just listen to it as a song about grief, and it is heavy. I'm gonna stop yapping because I'm repeating over myself, but I will have more to say. I just want you to have a moment.
You give me a minute just to scrap this.
Jeeves.
I'd be tickled pink if you'd allow me to say a word.
Don't say that.
I'm kidding. That's mean. You
okay.
are allowed to speak. A thought that occurred to me. I feel like this is probably the most like rock opera song on this rock opera record, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it is. God, it's just such a journey. You pretty much said everything that I would have said. I feel like this song really sets the fact. Not only is it like a breaking point, like this is a song about grief. It's sort of a message where like pain is inevitable. You are going to struggle with something. You are going to hurt in your life. There is no possible way you can avoid it, and trying to do that is maddening. You can't.
yeah.
And you're probably going to do it during a time in your life where things are really, really great. And like you feel like you got control of everything, and that's just going to shatter all compunctions you had, all the control you think you have over your life, all the things you think you figured out. You don't realize it. And you figure out that you still have things to learn. And the point I was like originally talking about with the catastrophe that kind of ties together this entire record is I think this record is a brilliant coming of age record, in my opinion. That is a theme that ties it all together that I think I probably think is one of the biggest reasons why I've developed a fonder opinion of it, because I love coming of age stories. I love that idea that you, even as like a someone who's technically an adult in college, maybe like you're 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever, maybe even older if you're going back, you don't have everything figured out. You never will. And becoming an adult is not learning everything. It's not learning how to avoid pain. It's not learning that you've got life figured out. It's understanding that you never will, in learning how to deal with that.
Yeah.
Learning how to roll with the punches rather than how to never get punched at all, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I one of my favorite lines, probably my favorite line in this whole album, at least, on this song, is the first lyrics said after the big explosion at the start of the song. in the best scene of the movie, I am driving a car that won't stop. There's something so striking about that line to me. Just the image of driving a car that will not stop. Like, at first, you probably, you were going to where you want to go. You were having, maybe a good time, and you were moving forward. But now you're trying to slow down. You're trying to regain control of your life, and you realize only now you've lost all of it. And you're just on a unending march to whatever lie ahead of you. There's nothing you can do about it. The marching of time is very unforgiving and cruel. And that line encapsulates it, I think. That's
honestly spitting bars.
Yeah, that line in particular strikes me a lot. Yeah. I also love towards the end of the track, after the big explosion part, where it breaks the fourth wall. And kind of features Will just directly talking to the audience on the song. He even references Beach Life and Death, which is a really cool song. And the way the track ends with him just kind of directly breaking the fourth wall, just talking directly to the audience, and also the whole no stage right, no stage left. Like this, it's become something more than a story to him. It's kind of breaking him in reality. That bit is really cool, and obviously the imagery of the earth fell out from under me being repeated over and over. It's almost like post-Rocky and how epic and like buildy it is. I really enjoy it. It's really good.
Let's move into the next song now.
Yeah, this is another other one I'm very interested in talking about, because it's always interesting to talk about Planet Desperation. The aforementioned 19-minute monster of a song on the record, and the one that I think everybody was the most nervous and skeptical about when going into the record. I've had my arc with this song. I didn't really care for it when the album first came out. I thought it was just like, whatever. I think it's way too long. I kind of have trouble sitting through it. The more I acclimated to its phases, the more I kind of just came to realize, wow, all these parts are pretty dang good. Some of them are really good. This track's a little disjointed, though, and it goes on for a little long.
Yes. This song is basically 20 minutes.
Yep.
It should have been 2 to 3 songs.
Yeah.
Like 6 to 7 minutes in length.
Mm-hmm.
Because it goes through so much. That makes it kind of hard to talk about, honestly, because there's so much it does.
Yeah.
I can't even, remember all of it. It's so long.
It took me so long to fully, memorize it. Yeah.
I can't say this is the song that's my favorite, but I understand it now. I've come to understand what it's doing.
Yeah.
Because after Reality, you need a long song to basically be we're now recuperating, we're now recovering, we're putting ourselves back together after all of that. And that's basically what this song is. This is you coming into realization. This song is basically you becoming an adult. That is what it is. The entire song. That's why it's almost like at the end of a movie where it kind of has to tie up a bunch of plot points, but it only has 15 minutes left to do. So this song is kind of the equivalent of that, where it has to basically do the entire rest of the arc in one song. So that's why it's 19 minutes. But I don't hate it. I think everything that's in there is at least good, and there's some pretty great parts in there. I honestly just could not point out to you a lot of specifics because it is so long. But there's nothing that's egregiously bad. The one part that kind of makes me go is part somewhat, I think near 16, 18 minutes in, where it brings out the bongos for some reason, which I thought was quaint, but I thought it was not bongo season.
And then Chanticleer comes back. Chanticleer comes back. Chanticleer, 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 Chanticleer.
But it's not bongo season. But it's not bongo season.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think from the way you were putting it and framing it, I think I can even simplify it more. Reality is the realization of everything going to shit, of everything spiraling out of control. Planet Desperation often feels like the fight to survive it. And that fits with the plot of the story. It's about a raid on the school. The schoolmaster's been poisoned and he fucking dies. Towards the end of the song, though, Chanticleer comes back, and that's when everything starts to get victorious and happy because he's the guy they thought they died back in reality. And now he's here again, and everybody's like, "Hell yeah, we're gonna take back the school. We're gonna make it. We're so back." And the schoolmaster dies by the river, by the way, which is kind of like an L. But he joins in because he's happy for everybody, and it's.
Yeah, I'm not not the biggest fan of like the themes of this album that are actually being told. It's gonna reiterate that point.
I don't know. I think it's fun, but it's not the main course I go to a lot of these songs for. I do think the song ends very strongly. The whole like, till the kids grow up alright, till hearts don't break anymore. And then obviously after that it brings back the "You Can Love Again If You Try Again" from Gethsemane, which I think wraps that 3-song run into a really nice bundle and sends you nicely in a boat off to the last track. But I don't want to head there just yet because we are still talking about Planet Desperation. And yeah, like you said, it took me ages to memorize this track. I still don't think I could recite it to you in its entirety. Which, I mean, like, fair.
Duh.
Yeah, I could do it with every other song, not that one. But I generally have a grasp on it these days, and I like it. It's... I do prefer I think I prefer all of the singles and Reality to it. But I think I prefer it to like Devereaux, Lady Gay, Equals, and the closer. So it's like middle of the album for me. I do think when this track hits, it hits though. I love the first build of the song when it first starts to get loud, and then Will comes in screaming, "There he is, officer! There's the prick I warned you about!" Like that fits really cool. Yeah, I don't really know what else I want to say now. Because I was like, there's so much to talk about. But without getting into just disassembling each part, which we would be here forever, I don't really know what else to say. Do you have anything you want to point out in particular?
I wish I had the compunction to listen to it more because it being a 20-minute track, basically, it turns me off to like, oh, I'm gonna listen to like a song from this album. Am I gonna listen to like the songs that are 4 minutes, 8 minutes, maybe even, or do I want to listen to the 20-minute song that's not even gonna be finished by the time I get to work? And it's like,
yeah.
So I just wish it was cut up. I would probably find a lot more enjoyment in it if it was like 2 to 3 songs. That's like the biggest sin I can say for this song. That kind of sticks out to me. Nothing else is really damning about it.
Yeah.
That's all I really want to say.
Oh, fair enough. I guess we can talk about the closer then. True False Lover, which I quite like. I think it's really fun. It's almost as fun as the Catastrophe at points. I think On God, it also took a long time for me to adjust to, just because by the time you get to it, I think you're still kind of trying to process what you just went through with the previous 3 songs. So by the time you get to True False Lover and it's like this resolution and everybody's back and we're kicking ass, and it's like, okay, but what the fuck? Like I'm still processing Planet Desperation and Reality and all that stuff. So it's like that's not a fault of the song. I think the song's pretty great, but it's if anything, it's a fault of Planet Desperation more than it's a fault of True False Lover. But yeah, what do you think of that song?
Probably exactly what the closer needed to be, because to me that whole song is school's out, guys. We're done. We can here. We can go. We can, guys. We can eat. We can stay up. We stay up past midnight, and we can eat as much junk food as we want. Which is what it needs to be. It is the end. It is the conclusion. It wraps things up. Thematically, it is exciting, so it kind of ties it back to the first song, but it feels more final. There's not like a loop to it. It is a straight line of a story. Not my favorite, obviously.
Yeah.
But I still think it's good. I still think it's exactly what it needs to be. I don't have much to say in it because it's another structural song to me, kind of like how Equals was.
Yeah. It fulfills its purpose on the album. And I think it's got some pretty kick-ass riffs and vocal melodies on it. It's just good.
No, it does.
Which I guess is a similar thing. I could say I love the hook on Equals, but like that doesn't change. You're still right. I think it is more of a structural song than an integral or, I guess, standout one. But yeah, The Scholars as a record thoroughly surprised me. Every time a single came out, well, I don't know. I felt like I had probably had the best idea of what we were going to get when Gethsemane came out as the first single. The two that came after kind of threw me off, especially the Catastrophe. I had no idea what we were in for when the Catastrophe came out. And I was like, oh fuck, like what is this thing going to sound like? And I think what we got, every track on this album kind of sounds different, and they cover different stories, different things, different themes, different stories, and like in and out of universe. And I think I very pleasantly surprised. It's very, very closely not my album of the year, but I think it holds the number 2 spot for me. But I would give this record a 91.
Okay. Well, I guess it's time for me to give my final thoughts. One bit more thing that I want to say about this record that kind of ties it all together is it kind of made me realize that I like Car Seat Headrest, but I do not love Car Seat Headrest.
Fair enough.
If I were ever given a choice between the matter, I would probably only put on Car Seat Headrest if I needed like background noise, something like that. Because I honestly think that's the best way for me personally to enjoy Car Seat Headrest. It is very much filling the space. There's enough substance for you there for your kind of like your hindbrain to pick up on. But for me, actually looking into it seems to hurt my enjoyment. And I think that's probably going to continue because this is very indicative of what Car Seat Headrest has done and continues to do. Not the music. I like it. No, that's what I want to say. I will give this album an 85. I would still put Twin Fantasy.
I will fucking take it.
I'll still put Twin Fantasy and obviously Twins of Denial above it. I enjoyed Twin Fantasy more, like I said before, just because of a lot of its composition is more fun. And Teens of Denial just straight up has the best themes. I connected with Teens of Denial like I haven't connected with any other Car Seat Headrest thing. And while I'd still say I like Car Seat Headrest after that, and I probably still wouldn't listen to it like actively. If I had to choose between any of them, it would always be Teens.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's my final thoughts.
I mean, I kind of agree. These days, I catch myself listening to Scholars a lot because it's new, and also because it's different. But yeah, my favorite's still Teens, and Twin Fantasy I still think is definitely like in between. I gave this album a 91. I gave Teens a 97, I think, in its episode, maybe a 96. I think it was a 97. And I would give Twin Fantasy, if I remember correctly, I gave it a 94. I stand by that. If that's what I gave, if not, that's what I'd give it. So it would be, smack in between those two records. But yeah, I liked the Scholars, and I'm really glad you came around on it, because I was really nervous for a while that you were gonna just be like, "This is garbage."
I should have been like that. I should have been.
Lady Gay's boring. Gethsemane sucks.
I should have just got like a model in game and just got like a sword and just like every time a song came up, like, this song is a piece of shit. Cuts it in half and it explodes into flames. This song sucks. That's why I think you're a stupid album.
In the next episode, we are going to be listening to this album. This one right here. Ooh. Ooh. That's all for this week. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys listen to Scholars, please tell us your thoughts on it in the comments. Honestly, the discussion surrounding this album has been one of the most interesting things I've been keeping up with in music for a long time, as it's very divisive. Some people really like it, some people don't really care for it, and it's really interesting to hear all their reasonings. And yeah.
Also, like and subscribe, and please do that. Please, we don't need the engagement. We enjoy it. It helps us to know that we're doing things that are right.
Yeah. Whatever. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Adios.
This album you like? Garbage. This album you like? I wouldn't even put a diarrhea dump on it like the angry video game nerd.
Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. It's the best. What should I review next? Hit the bell. Hit the like and subscribe.
This host that you like? He's gone. It's just me next time. It's always just me.